All right. So first of all, how did you end up being a basketball player? Did you play high school? Did you play middle school, college? What did you do?
So basketball, I picked up pretty like young. I've been playing basketball since I was 3. Really
Mm,
started from just seeing my cousins play. Um, and I just grew a love for the game. Throughout then, I did put the ball down for a little bit. Um,
mm,
I used to do kung fu as well, and it kind of started to conflict with my basketball schedule, so I had to pick one or the other. And thankfully, I chose basketball. And from there, I've been playing since high school all the way up to college, and now just trying to continue my journey on with the with basketball.
okay. Um, what? Who's like your biggest inspiration? I know you said you watched your cousins play, but do you have like a WNBA or NBA talent that you grew up watching and you would say, hey, this person, I love their games, who I want to model my game after, or anything like that?
Ironically, uh, my favorite player back when I was younger used to be LeBron. Just seeing like his story and seeing like he came from not the best circumstances, and he was able to like evolve and gain that notoriety that he has right now. And then as time went on, I started to watch female basketball because I wasn't really exposed to much of like women's basketball when I was
Mm,
younger. So seeing like WNBA, like one of my favorite players right now is Chelsea Gray. I just love the fact of that, even though like she's not really looked at as a guard, she has a lot of great IQ and she's a very high IQ player, and she also like brings different types of energy to her team as well. And then over time with NBA, my new favorite player now is like John Morant. Um, as controversial as he is, I also see a lot of him in me of just
mm,
not always making the best decisions, but always finding a way to like still rise above it, no matter what circumstances you're in. And I
mm.
pride that very much in myself of just understanding that life might not always pan out how you want to, but it's about how you rise from the occasion and make that name for yourself, regardless of what life throws at you.
Okay. Um, I think that's a pretty interesting choice right there. Um, I have to ask, with John Morant kind of having a change in the environment that he's in right now, and with everything that's kind of shifted as far as his superstar status is concerned, um, do you think this is the best situation for him? You think this is the best time for him to come back as the person he wants to present himself as?
I would say this is the perfect time. The best way for me, especially how I see it, to start off new is to really put your mark down when you get that opportunity to be in a different team, different environment, and just be around a whole different bunch of guys. A lot of times I
Mm,
feel like it was also to just the environment that he was in wasn't always a positive environment. So just getting out of that field and going to a new state, being able to place your new stamp on like how you are as a player and change how the world views you is the best way to do it, especially when you get traded.
got you. Um, So I know you mentioned you've made some bad decisions yourself, and I know on like some of your posts you talked about some of the struggles that you've been through. Is there anyone in particular that you're comfortable sharing that you want to talk about, like how you rose above those circumstances to be a better person and be who you wanted to become out of it?
Sorry.
No worries, no worries.
I would say for me, like one of the biggest things I I didn't really I didn't really take my health as serious as I should have
Mm,
as a player. Um very I would say very young relatively. I found out that I had anemia and it wasn't a slight case, it was a very severe, which affected how I played as a basketball player going into
mm,
college. And at first I was very, you know, not taking it serious in the standpoint of just negating that something might be wrong and
Mm,
just wanting to just play basketball instead of understanding, I'm 18. Um, if everybody's telling me I should go get things checked out, I shouldn't ignore it just because I think, if I survived 3 years playing basketball and I was fine, I can do the next four,
mm,
and just not taking it as serious as I should have, and finding out that it was way more serious than it could have been.
mm,
And now, the age that I am now, and understanding that, you know, I'm older now, I'm only going to get older, and my health is probably the most important thing to me. And now that I'm actually getting things figured out, I'm able to take care of my health to my full ability. I also did allow how my health affected me to affect my grades in school while I was in college, which also wasn't the greatest decisions. And unfortunately, my junior year of college, I wasn't able to complete my full season because of my
mm,
grades, and it affected a lot of my goals in the future after that. And now I could look back and say, I should have done this, I should have done that, but it also is a life lesson of just don't let one problem affect all other things. And I kind of make sure that, if one thing is going to affect me today, I'm not going to let it affect me tomorrow and years to come.
mm,
And that's just kind of something I try to make sure I stay like very stern on myself for, because life only continues. I can't go backwards. I can only go forward. So those are kind of things like I make sure I'm really like hard on myself about now. Trying to continue and go pro now. I make sure I keep very good keen on my health.
mm.
Now grades aren't involved, but with grades aspect, now I'm an adult. It comes financials. Just making sure I'm very keen on my financial state and taking all lessons into my future.
For sure. I was actually going to be my next question. With the emergence of like different semi-pro and professional organizations and leagues that are popping up left and right now, um, do you feel like this is your time to go 100% into that, or are you kind of taking it slow with that?
Right now I feel like this is the best time to go 100% in. I don't really want to take much time off because how I see it is, especially for women playing basketball, our time for playing basketball isn't as long as it is for men. With increased injury, just our bodies are getting older, and making sure I take care of myself. So I want to do it as long as I'm still young and still able to still move around and do what I can, because I want to play basketball for as long as I can. So
Hmm.
I really try to make sure I'm working, staying in the gym, getting up shots, playing in whatever tournaments come my way, going to any camps I can, and just making sure I stay as fresh as possible. For when the opportunity comes, I can take it.
Do you have like a preference for like if this one specifically calls, then all the other options are out there. Would I just want to play for this team or in this league or whatever?
Overall, I want to play overseas, but as of right now, I just want to get my first foot in the door. And however I do that, I'm never going to be a person that's picky or, no, I won't take this because of that. Um, it's all about getting that first step in the door and seeing what those opportunities can open for the next one.
Okay, okay. And you're from New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What's the basketball scene like out there in your area right now?
Um, I mean, summer basketball, if you know New York, like, it's a place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially for the women's side. I know a lot of people don't really get to see it, but the women's side has a lot of great talent. Type tournaments like Dykeman, Uptown, West Fourth, like
Mm-hmm.
Rucker, like just having those different tournaments so we could all be together. It's always chaotic. It's New York. So there's always a big crowd, and just learning to play in those type of environments and just trying to do different events as well. Like a lot of New York networkers have been trying to get the women's side more attention. So it's
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of traffic. It's been a lot of crowds, but just you're gonna play like that no matter where you go. So it's definitely it's a different feel when you come here, but it's the same way like how you expect it. It's New York.
Yeah. But they say you can take the girl out of New York, can't take the New York out of the girl, right?
Yeah.
That's how it feels with basketball too. You know, you can take the basketball out of New York, but it's still gonna have that live feel, that live. Everything is gonna be, a movie basically. It's gonna feel like Broadway. So for you, what advice would you want to give to like athletes that you have seen in like similar situations or coming up right now? Whether they be young or even in like their twenties, 20s, early 30s, and are still trying to play. What advice would you give to them?
Um, the advice I would give is kind of the advice I give myself. Just don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. If you put the work in, you work hard at it every day, put your mind to it, you wake up every morning and dedicated to that. Don't ever feel like because one coach doesn't believe in you, because one person doesn't believe in you, that means that the dream should die. Um, and just make sure that if you say you're gonna do something, put your mind to it, and don't give up. That's really
Hmm.
just it. Don't no matter what, don't give up. You know, there's always different paths of how people get to their destination.
Hmm.
Some have an easier route. I've had a hard route, but no matter what, you can always get there. Just about believing in yourself. Be delusional, if anything.
Yeah, yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. That you gotta kind of be delusional, dream bigger than people will allow you to, things of that nature to kind of push yourself to those goals. And I always agree with it. I think that you have to because you have to dream bigger than than everyone's doubts. Because at some point you're going to be hit with doubts. You're going to be hit with those walls of even your own doubts with the circumstances going on and with trying to figure out if you have it in you to do so. And you have to always dream bigger than that. So yeah, I'm 100% behind you. Okay, so I got those questions out the way. Now I have to ask, if we're in an alternate timeline and you chose kung fu instead, would you be like a grandmaster in the world championships? What would you be doing? Would you have gotten your own dojo? Would this be Sensei Kira? What are we talking about?
So with Kung Fu, my main thing was always sparring. Like I love
Mm,
to spar. Like the youngest, I was always the youngest in anything I did. I was the first girl, especially in that dojo.
mm,
So I would say now I would definitely, if I was still as invested in as world in Kung Fu as it was, I would definitely still help out my Sabanim and make sure that I would help grow what he has going on because he's doing a great job right now. Um, he's building and evolving while still trying to grow his family, and I would just take that and just try to franchise with him and just trying to grow bigger because that's like second family to me.
mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't choose that path, I still make sure that I still connected as much as I can and just making sure that we grow as a community because it's also a kung fu school built in my community. So just making sure we build outside of our community as well. So I
Right.
definitely would try to teach other kids how to defend themselves, have my own dojo, but also franchise with him as well because he started it all.
Okay. Um, but thought I had a thought, it just left my head that fast. Um, oh, it always catches me. Um, so for you, just thinking about just your community right now, um, what do you think you would want to see more of within your community? Like, we've had some guests for our interviews that we've, discussed this with, and they say, the education system or accessibility to medical information or things of that nature. Like, for you, what do you think would be what you want to see for your community?
For my community, we are very like small. We're a very small, like knit kind of community. But I would definitely want to see like us just giving back more to our community. I feel like
Mm,
we are doing that here and there. And with little basketball tournaments that we're doing, like a lot of my people that I grew up playing basketball with originally, we're trying to organize tournaments and just gain new exposure. And even with any sport you play, I feel like just doing more community events. We do a lot of community events, but I feel like a lot of people from outside the community come a lot too. And it's all about expanding, yes, but I feel like also too just getting encouraging people also to move out of the community, but also always make sure when we visit that we also invest back into community. There are a lot of great brands. I have my own clothing brand. I know a lot of people that have their own clothing brand, a lot of people who sing, a lot of different, like, there's a lot of creativity in my community that I see, and I just don't see enough of like it being presented to community staffing, to like boards. And I feel like just having our community outreach back to the youth. We were kids once, like, they
Right.
seen us as kids, they seen us grow. And it's like now that we're adults, it's kind of like a disconnect. So
Hmm.
just to see my community come back and just like invest as much as they can in those that are in the community and are very creative, because I do see a lot of creativity. We all grew up around each other. We seen each other from like 3 all the way up to like our 20s now, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And I just feel like we should all come back and like do a big event or just do more community stuff that really embed with the people in the community instead of outside.
I think that is, uh, if I had to like rank things, I think that's kind of, to me, like it has to be at least top one or top two, priority wise, because I think that establishes a really strong dynamic of, if we're building at home before we worry about expansion, then we'll be able to have a stronger foundation. And I think that really ties back to like the family aspect as well. Of like, if we build at home a strong family system, a strong home, before we worry about who we're trying to impress at the job, at the school, or whatever, then we'll have a much stronger foundation going out as well. So I think that, I might be reaching, I don't care, but I think that is still, a super strong, like, priority for communities as a whole to do that. What do you think is the reason that we don't see so much of that nowadays?
I would say a lot of it is just people on our ends as the creativity of the youth, just not feeling like we have that opportunity to present ourselves. And
Mm,
I feel like also too the other part is just not really, not to say it's a AIDS gap, but just having different people from outside of the community start to be the presidents or the board members, and not really knowing the kids that grew up to be the adults, or like the adults that are having the kids now. It's just a disconnect and just like not knowing your community. A lot of times I'm noticing in my community that a lot of people that are involved with the events weren't the people I grew up with, that knew my family, that knew my brother, my mom.
mm,
So it's just a lot of, just the new people aren't taking the time to get to know their community.
okay. Do you think there's a disconnect, when it comes to the adults specifically, because of, the kind of idea of self-sufficiency? Like, once you hit 18 or 21 or whatever, you're expected to kind of do it by yourself. So why do you need my help? Do you think that kind of plays a factor?
I feel like it definitely does play a factor. Um, I feel like it's just a difference in, generation as well. One generation was taught independence and,
Mm,
being self sufficient, and one is just, we are very more social media based. So it's like we do kind of rely on other people to help us grow.
mm,
So it's just more so relinquishing that fear of, yes, be independent, but also it takes a community to help build a tree. So you
mm,
can't really expect one person to do well in an environment without guidance, because as much as we are adults, we also still need guidance in our life because we are young adults. So just helping with independence in a sense of, don't do everything for us, but also guiding us so that we can gain that independence, so we don't need you guys for everything.
right, right. Well, one of the other through lines we've been getting is, allow us, to make mistakes and just be there afterwards if we need you, as opposed to just holding our hand through everything. So with that concept, do you think that, that's something that the youth are kind of running away from now? Like everyone on in the next generation, after us, do you think that they're not given that opportunity to make mistakes, or because like personally, what I see is that their mistakes kind of bring them from up here all the way down, and they don't have that foundation that I spoke of where they can kind of pick themselves back up. It's always one mistake is enough to ruin a whole career or throw off someone's trajectory completely. And do you think that that's like something that's still happening nowadays, or do you feel like the youth have a better support system when it comes to that?
It's actually funny. I was talking to like one of my friends about this earlier. I feel like with the younger generation, they are cushioned a little more, but I feel like they're not using their cushion the best way they could. I do feel like just from having younger teammates than me, a lot of times they feel like if they make a mistake, it's like career ending and they can never come back from it. But it's really just understanding like you made the mistake. How do you now not undo your mistake, but how do you grow from the experience that you had so you can make a better option the next time? And I feel like a lot of times people are more, I don't want to say soft, but they're more gentle with the younger generation because they don't want them to make as many mistakes. But I feel like a lot of times they don't understand that like that's how we grow.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't be the person I am today. You wouldn't be the person you are today without the mistakes. And I feel like trying to a lot of times they try to stop the younger generation from making no mistakes. So it's like, oh, I did this, so don't do that.
Hmm.
And everybody's life is different. Just because you did that, that might work out for them. But if you make everybody fearful of making a mistake, then like, of course, when they make a mistake, they're gonna feel like it's detrimental and they can't do anything and they can't come
Hmm.
out of it. So it kind of takes away their perseverance in a way, and it makes them feel like failure is the only option sometimes. So let's find something else. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Um, okay. I want to ask then. What would you want to see for women's basketball as a whole when it comes to these things that we've been talking about? Building the community and allowing them to make mistakes and all of these things. What would you want to see for women's basketball as a whole, not just on the national level, but on the local level as well, to help progress it, more in the future?
One thing I want to see more, especially for the women, I do want women to start having their own. I'd love the fact that we have our own tournaments and everything, but also when it comes to just like runs, I want to see women get back into playing against men again, and playing their
Mm,
hardest and showing that like, yeah, we are women, yeah, we are young, like yeah, we're young adults, but we're not less than you because of biology. I feel like
mm,
a lot of times we're getting back into that culture of like be gentle because she's a female. Where like a lot of us grew up playing against men, and that's how
right.
we became the great women basketball players that we are now. And it's just if you start going back to that soft culture of like be gentle, don't be so aggressive, then it's like how do we get better? How do we show that as women we should be the same respect as men? And I feel like it's just in my community, like especially when it comes to basketball, I don't really see that many. Like I'm usually one of the only females at the courts playing against the guys, and it's like I
Mm,
want to get back to seeing like a bunch of my friends coming back out to the courts playing against the guys as well. And that's also how we get networking and connectivity. So they're like, oh, nah, like she's a great basketball player. Like, oh, this is a bunch of females who are a bunch of great basketball players. Let's make their own tournament. Let's have their own thing within the community. And my community is starting to do that. There's a women's tournament coming up soon at the end of the month. So and that just comes from like playing against them, and that's how you grow and get the neighborhood to want to do events for women, especially because they need to see your faces. If they
yeah.
see you play against the guys, then it's like, okay, now she's tough. Like, let's build this own tournament for them so they can all show their talents, and then that's how you get it to grow bigger. So I really just want to see like on top of I want to see more like women playing against the men. I also want to see like the women basketball field just establishing more and growing more, and that way, it's not just a men's only event, but we have a co-ed event where it's just men play at this time, women play at this time, but it's still a big crowd. It's not just, you know.
Okay. This is going to be a loaded question, but I gotta ask it because it's I'm sure it comes up a lot more often than not, right? Um, But we'll just go for one thing. What is one thing that you feel is the single biggest thing that's stopping, or not stopping? I want to say stopping, but like kind of uh, like that resistance force that's not allowing the growth to be as fast and as explosive as it could be.
Um, I would just say commitment to women's programs.
Mm,
I feel like that's the main thing. Like a lot of people are afraid to commit to investing in like women's programs with any sport because you never know how it could go when it comes to like crowd environment, income when it comes to the events. Like you just never know how it can go because a lot of people aren't as involved in women's sports as they should be.
mm,
I feel like basketball does a lot better than other sports, but like there's a lot of talent in a lot of sports. A lot of the times the women be doing better than the men sometimes. So it's just a lot of like commitment to understanding that women's sports matters as much as any other sport.
agreed. I always felt like there's a really weird Mexican standoff because it's like I see a lot of women that are interested but are hesitant because they're not sure there's going to be any investment from the other side. And then I see the other side, they're like, well, we want to do it, but we don't know if you guys are actually going to commit if we invest.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about your clothing line. Tell us about that.
So I started my clothing line, I want to say my sophomore year of college.
Mm,
Originally became an idea because I didn't think I was gonna play basketball much longer because of my health. Um, so I kind of put not put basketball down, still played it in college, but kind of came to terms with the idea that I might not be playing this after college. So let's find something that we also love. So my clothing brand is called H.A.T.E. I know it sounds kind of like negative, but that's like the point. It's supposed to be like a negative connotation turned back positive. So H.A.T.E stands
mm,
for healing after the effects.
mm,
Um, the main message overall, once my brand becomes bigger, I do want to build stores in different places and then take the profits from that I'm getting from the products. I sell clothes, so it's going to be a lot of streetwear. But take the profits that I'm getting from my clothing line and give back to mental health programs, so I can place them inside of different colleges, especially for like the student athletes, because I feel like a lot of times when I was going to school, like a lot of people I know, they have mental health issues. Depression. You have all these different things going on in life. It's hard. You're away from home. You're trying to go to school, also trying to play a sport. So you have different pressures coming from different areas, and just helping them understand that like you're not alone and giving those programs back to the student athletes. We unfortunately did have a lot of like people pass for different reasons, and just making sure that they don't feel like because they're going through something nobody understands.
mm,
Even though you're going to school with different people, like you don't only just have your teammates, you will have these programs that's placed inside these colleges to talk to a therapist, or even if you don't want to talk to a therapist, just to have groups where you could set it up for student athletes so everybody can talk and communicate and understand like just because he plays soccer and you play lacrosse or you play basketball, you guys could all be going through the same thing and just connecting with different sports so you can also make friends with outside of your reach of your sport. Right now it is an online business.
mm.
So the main motto right now is just to, heal different parts of your well being. The three aspects right now are mind, body, and soul. Um, right now we just have t-shirts, but I am looking to expand more. I just dropped the 18th, so I'm really excited about it. And I just want to really like keen and help people understand like healing is very important. Like a lot of, especially like a lot of people in like the black and brown community, we don't really pay attention to our mental health as much as we should. And I really want to like help people understand like, yeah, like you're putting on a shirt, it looks cool, but like the main message is like give back to yourself, invest in yourself, because if you aren't 100% okay with yourself mentally, physically, whatever the aspect is that you're damaged in, if you don't heal from those aspects, you're never going to be the great person that you want to be, because those always play a part into your success.
For sure. Um, we're definitely gonna have to talk about that afterwards. But yeah, nah, definitely love that what you have going on there. Definitely love that. Part of what we do is as we're building ourselves, we're going to be doing athletic scholarships. So parents can come register on our list through us, and we'll take care of the child's AAU payments for the season. For a couple months for them, or help them take care of high school or whatever the case may be. We'll help parents and children be able to afford sports and afford basketball, afford whatever the case may be, because we've noticed that one of the biggest, if not the biggest, accessibility issue is the money side, because it's 350, 450 a month. That's more than my car note. You know what I mean? So that's a lot to, and then on top of that, I have to pay to even go sit down and watch my child play sports. That's a lot. So we want to be able to give back to the community in that way. On top of the toy drives, the food drives, and all of those things. But that's part of what we're aiming to be launching pretty soon as well. So definitely want to connect with you on that. Um, how do people find you? How do people find your clothing brand? How do people find everything you got going on?
So my main page, you can find me on Instagram, Kara.the.Dawn. It's all on my TikTok as well. On my TikTok, I do a lot of fashion, but also I'm trying to implement more mental health things out there to just help different people. And for my clothing brand, it's on Instagram as well. It should be on my main page for my Instagram, but if it's
Mm,
not, it's healing underscore after underscore the underscore effects.
okay. Um, what do you have coming up in like the next month or so? You have any tournaments, any expos you're going to be doing, any community events?
In the next month, I do have a great coaching opportunity I have coming up with a local college in my community. Um, Hopefully, if everything gets organized, I do have a pop up shop coming up soon
Okay.
for my brand in Co-op City. So hopefully everything gets organized so I can get that done. Um, and that's just my plans for the next month. Where life takes me is where it takes me. Just whatever God has planned for me, I have ready to be accessible to.
Okay. Well, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time with us today. Is there anything you want to share with the world before we call it a day for this one?
I just want to share. Don't be afraid to tell your story or expose yourself. Definitely appreciate Gregory for this opportunity.
Of course, of course. It's our
Um,
pleasure. You're our first woman interview, so definitely our pleasure to have you.
and just opportunities rise. So take it every time. Just don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself above all.
For sure. Well, thank you again, Kira, for joining us for this interview. And look out for it. We're going to post it later today during our broadcast. So look out for it. Tell all your friends, hey, I'm on the network now. I made it big time. All right. Well,